program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are. Welcome into another exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is my friend Emily Myers. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is so much fun. I love it.
Well, and I don't know where you're at. It's a lot colder outside than it was in Tennessee when we met, but it's nice and warm inside of my studio today. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, I'm in Nashville. I'm based in Nashville, and it is about as cold, if you can believe it. We had another cold snap. So I am also in my studio, not leaving as much as I can.
Fantastic. Well, before we get into everything that you're doing now, I'd love to give you the floor and have you give us a little bit of your backstory.
Cool. Well, I'm an independent country folk artist, originally from the Missouri Ozarks, moved to Nashville, believe it or not, in the middle of the pandemic, and I've been hitting the pavement ever since. My debut album called Lost released in September. So it's been a really exciting end of the year, getting that out and just connecting with so many fans kind of around the world, putting that record out. And yeah, it's been a great journey.
I love the Ozarks, and I probably mentioned it when we met on the red carpet as well, that I was down there in Summersville, Missouri for a festival. Absolutely gorgeous. I grew up in the Black Hills of South Dakota. And we lived in the woods, right? Like our backyard was national forest land. So I'm very used to that, but it's nothing like the Ozark is. It's so different. And I'm sure in the fall with all the colors changing everywhere, it's just got to be absolutely beautiful. Not a whole lot different in maybe looks moving to Tennessee, but a little bit different vibe moving from rural Missouri, where everything is 2 hours away, to moving to Nashville, where it might take you 2 hours to get across town.
Yes. Oh, you couldn't have said that better. It's funny when I was driving in, because where I'm from Jefferson City specifically, and it has those beautiful cliffs that are all through the Ozarks, right? And all the trees on it. And when I was driving into Nashville, I saw some of the same kind of cliffs, and I was like, I'm going to be okay. It looks like home, just slightly. It's slightly the same, but it is a very different feel. It's funny. We're currently planning a tour for next year, and we're looking at playing St. Louis. And someone's like, well, that's not where you're from. And I'm like, but it's 2 hours from there. And people are used to driving that. And I was talking to someone who they didn't grow up in that kind of area. And I was like, that's pretty normal. So
no, I joke about it it's because obviously I made a lot of friends. One of our hosts on the network, Wild Willie Thornton, he lives in Salem, which is 2 hours, or an hour and a half from Somersville. And it seemed like everyone was 2 hours. Jefferson City is 2 hours from here, and it's 2 hours to get to there, and it's 2 hours to get. I was just like, so is literally everything in Missouri 2 hours from everything? Is that just how it is?
I mean, kinda. When I visited San Francisco for the first time in college, and I was with a friend, and she's like, okay, we're in this town. We're in this town. We're in this town. And I literally told her, I said, I've never been somewhere where there wasn't space. There wasn't rural land in between towns. That was just kind of, you're not used to that where I'm from.
Yes. And in South Dakota, there's barely towns. There's just space.
Right. You know what? I miss that sometimes. I've learned to love that when I go back.
Yeah, but Nashville now, and what a city. That was my first time visiting when we were together there at the Josie Music Awards at the beautiful Grand Ole Opry House. What a town. Absolutely blown away by what Broadway is. I landed there actually on Halloween. So it was to the max, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't, because I was on the tour bus, I didn't have my own vehicle down there, that I was unable to even make it to Music Row, or to get to really anywhere of the places where the musicians and the players are hanging out, the writers' rounds. And I feel like I missed so much. And I'm already planning my next trip back there. But what has your experience been like as a transplant to Nashville, which I'm sure a lot of people are, but what's your experience been like there the last few years, starting from kind of falling in there as a country mouse, we'll say, and to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I had such a strange landing into Nashville because I moved in the pandemic in the middle of COVID, and that was obviously not the plan. But I think what was so lovely about that was I got to meet people first as people, because the city at the beginning was shut down when I moved. And so I got to just kind of put some roots down. And I think that has been so lovely, because this town, I mean, everyone says it's run on relationships, but that is so true. And that's what I love about it, is the songwriting is built on friendships. It's built on people who care about, making great songs together. And that's the root of a friendship, which is such a neat community to have, people who are all there to do their own artist thing, and sure, but like at the core of it, it's people who are all there to write great songs. And that's just like, I get like chills thinking about it, because that's unlike any other place I've ever been. And it's really special.
Right. And you kind of touched on something there, because I think there's probably two types of people that move down there. You have these songwriters, and then maybe you have the singers or the people who want to be performers and to do that. And there's very different motivations for that. And, it was obvious, walking up and down Broadway, the guys that want to make a living playing, that's a grind, and that's there. Yeah. But that's a grind. Before the songwriters, it's a much different, it can be maybe a slower process, but also a little bit slower lifestyle as well. And you're hitting the writers' rounds, and you're making friends, and you're writing great music. It's really a much different world than someone who's trying to live on Broadway and to play 4 shows a night and make a living that way.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's so different, that there are kind of different lanes in Nashville. I'm somebody who personally, my heart is in the songwriting. That is what I moved to town to be able to do first and foremost. And so to be in a town, especially moving from rural Missouri, where I was kind of one in a million who did that, moving here to find so many people who did that and loved what I loved, which was the craft of writing. I mean, it's so inspiring. And there's also this feeling of like, steel sharpens steel. Like you get to work with people who, especially when I first got here, I got to work with people who quite frankly were better than me. And then I got to rise to the occasion, and I couldn't do that anywhere else, really. And that's, I think, what's so great about it.
Right. Well, and something you touched on there is that you stand out at home. And I think I can attest to that. I grew up in a small town. I still live in a small town, albeit a different name, and that we stand out wherever I go. But I also felt like when I went to Nashville and working the red carpet, that it's like, oh, you can still stand out here as well. It takes a certain kind of person. And for me, that was very gratifying to know that, hey, you can do this if you wanted to, and maybe not necessarily as an artist or as a songwriter, but you find a way to stand out. Did it take you a little bit of time to adjust once the world did open back up and the town opened back up to find your feet in the scene, as it were?
Yeah, I think so. I think it wasn't hard for me to jump into collaborating with people, just because before I moved, I had come down a lot. I really had kind of a feeling of what that would look like. So that part wasn't hard. I think what was hard was figuring out, okay, especially as I shifted more into the artist lane than the songwriter lane, what makes you unique? What is the story that only you can share? And I think that was, I think for anybody, that's actually kind of a slow process. You kind of have to unravel that and figure out what it is that you have to offer. And it takes a lot of self-reflection. It takes a lot about looking at what's around you, who's currently on the radio, and where maybe your hole is that is not there. I think that takes a while to figure out. I really do. And so that's kind of been the journey I've been on for the last few years, figuring that out.
We make the analogy a lot, a big fish in a small pond. And not only are you a little fish in a big ocean in Nashville, but now you're in a school of fish that are all doing the same thing as you. And that can pose its own challenges. And it really speaks to what you alluded to with relationships. You have to be able to find your group, your smaller school inside of that big group that you're going to swim with and that you're going to hang out, and maybe you all make it together. And I think that as time goes on, what you see happen is it's not necessarily one individual that stands out, but rather it's a group that kind of rises together. And that's why you see so many friends tend to make it in bunches, that a group of you gets discovered because you've all been writing together and participating in mics or booking your own shows together, that you kind of rise in that group rather than just as a single musician.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And I think that is something that is so beautiful about this industry. I mean, it really is. I've got a few people in this town that it's just like, if I'm, we're writing a new record right now, and like, they're the first people I call. And it's because they know me, not just as a writer and as an artist, but they know my family, they know my life, they know what I'm about. And it becomes so much more than the music at that point. It's really, you're building community with somebody, and to make art with those people is just, it's so fulfilling. Like, no matter what it does at the end of the day, that is something really, really special to do with a community of people.
Right. And speaking of a community of people, we would be remiss if we didn't double back and talk about our experience with the community of the Josie Music Awards. It was your first Josies. You just released a record in September, and you're nominated for an award with that right away. I mean, this has to feel like it's moving very, very fast, even though your career has not been exactly, just started. You've been in Nashville for a little bit now, and it's taken time to get here. But now that the record is out and it's been nominated for an award, and what is it now? You say you're already working on the next one as well. So it feels like you're on a rocket ship, I'm sure.
Yeah, it has felt that way for sure. I think it was really powerful to release a debut record. And I met so many people releasing it, so many people from around the world, even just messaging me online and getting to send my record directly to them it's been an incredible experience. And I had so many people come back and say, this is my record of the year. And then to be nominated for something like that at the Josies, it was really cool, because the fans said they got behind it, and they were like, this is so cool. Like, this is how I feel about the record. It was really cool to have the Josies recognize kind of the momentum that we all felt, if that makes sense. And that was just really, it was kind of like an, icing on the cake moment.
Just incredible. And I got to kind of tap in late to the game. I don't think I even applied for the media credentials until September.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a little late, but we had won the Content Creator of the Year award from the Midwest Country Music Organization. And I had 20 friends from that organization that were nominated for Josies as well. I'm also good friends with Jasmine Kane, who was a performer and now a Josie Award winner. And we've been friends for 20 years, and I wasn't going to miss her moment on that stage, in that circle. Whether she won or not, knowing that she was performing was a pretty big impetus as to why I even reached out to Tina Marie and to Josie to say, hey, I would really love to come and bring my flavor to this beautiful cake that you're baking and to take part in it. And just an incredible experience all the way around. They're doing a wonderful job with everything that they're doing. Now, did you attend the conference and everything on Saturday as well?
I did not, mostly because I didn't know about it. It wasn't on purpose, really.
Well, so I think it filled up pretty quick too. So when I approached them even about coming over, it was at the Bel Air Mansion. So what a cool place to go and hang out and to mingle with everyone. Our good friend Brad Morgan, who's a integral part of the Midwest Country Music Organization, won an award there for his songwriting. But it's really cool what they've been doing, and I don't think I'll be missing that next year.
No, I think that'll be on my list as well. Now that I know about it, I will be there.
Well, there's just so much to know about these days, and you are finishing a record and so much to do. Now, I know that you're independent, which would mean that you're unsigned, you're not under a label, but do you have a team, a management or PR or any of that kind of working with you, or is it all on Emily Myers?
I have I guess they're a marketing agency that I work with. They work specifically with independent artists. I was with management and I parted ways in December and moved into this marketing agency more just because the music industry has shifted so much that some of those traditional channels weren't making sense for me at this level. I wanted to work with some people who were really their strength was in direct contact with fans. And that's what this group does. And so they've helped me release the record, and they've helped me, meet people literally all over the world in the process of releasing it. So other than that, it's about as independent as it gets.
No, good for you. And that is where we've come in. I talk about them a lot on the show. We offer, services through our company as well. But a company like Indiepreneur changed how I thought of it. A guy like Rick Barker and Cheryl B. Englehart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's because that is what it is. We all just want to carve out a little niche for ourselves. I don't think a lot of us are in this to become big rock stars and to be the next Lainey Wilson or Jelly Roll. But if we could just make a living doing what we're doing and to carve out a small niche in there and a small group of fans, I think it gets thrown around a lot. 1,000 true fans that are buying your records and supporting you can afford a pretty nice living. So I think that's really what I've been seeking out. And it's why I've started the Scene Projects to be a platform to support independent artists that are taking that avenue. We're not necessarily here to do the interviews with the Jelly Rolls, although I would not tell him no. I'll actually be out at the Buffalo Chip Campground next summer as well. We've been invited. The last year we were one of their content creators, but Lainey Wilson is one of the headliners. So fingers crossed I can get a few minutes of her time at some point and do some interviews. But it's really about connecting with independent artists. And I bring up those two specifically because they were independent artists grinding it out for so long before that break came their way. And neither one of them, Jelly Roll, I think it's his birthday today. He's 41. Lainey probably about to say they're around my age. And to see them making it later in their careers after they've been told no a million times, right? And a woman like Alexandra Kay, who we got to do a meet and greet with her in Sioux Falls before she hit her meteoric rise now, and she's all over the place. A big shout out to AK for being so gracious to us. She actually let me shout out my band over the microphone at her show. And we were right front row. My wife walked down the aisle to her song. We actually have the sign that we took with us that she brought up on stage with her. And this was for like maybe 200 people. Right. It was a pretty small venue. I think the next night she was going up to sing at the North Dakota State Fair with Jelly Roll. And then she was out on tour with them all last summer. Right. And all last year. And to see where it could go for someone independent who had been told no. It's what's really kept me going and has kept me wanting to reach out to others in the industry to have these conversations, to get your story out there, because we don't know who the next one of us is going to be. It could be our beautiful friend Emily Myers, who is the next big thing in country music and out there, sharing it with the world. And I'm just sinking my hooks into as many coattails as I can, Emily.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate you so much. People who are passionate about independent artists, it's such a special thing to do. And you can't help but root for people who have been at the independent artist level and then seeing success, because they're only at that level because they built a wonderful group of people around them. And I love it. I love it.
Incredible. Well, Emily, before I let you go, give you a chance to plug everything, where people can find you, where they can connect with you and become fans of your music and follow your career. Go ahead and tell us all where they can find you.
Everything is under Emily Myers Music on all the social channels. My website is emilymyersmusic.com. Basically, if I'm on everything that you can look for. So
Well, it's been such a joy to reminisce a little bit about my time in Nashville with you. I will definitely be looking you up when I come back there, hopefully in the future. I think I got a trip down to Tennessee planned in March for another award show. So maybe I can get over to Nashville for a couple of days and see some friends. Emily Myers, thank you so much for being part of the scene.
Yes, thank you for having me. This has been a wonderful chat. I appreciate it.